Hello, welcome to the color along and tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a cute little alien for Halloween from Pop Manga's Cute and Creepy Coloring Book by Camilla de Erico. We're using Holbein pencils today. I am doing some tutorials in Holbeins for my VIP artists because they're a more expensive pencil and a lot of newer artists don't have them. However, if you don't have the Holbein pencils, I am going to provide alternatives in Polychromos because they're a similar type of pencil. They're both a harder oil pencil. However, Holbeins are a little less hard than Polychromos and they function different. And there are not a lot of Holbein color alongs out there. So I wanted to start adding those to my membership here because they really are a nice pencil. If you are ever thinking of getting Holbeins, the best way to get them would be on eBay from Japan. You can do a search for Holbein pencils, complete set, new, and then search under worldwide instead of just your country and look for the ones from Japan. They're probably half the cost. Probably got mine in the, I don't even know, might have been the high 200 range instead of like 400. I don't remember, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Okay, and now Polychromos won't have every exact pencil equivalent. So there might be only 3 instead of 4 for Polychromos if I try to give exchanges, and the color results will be a little different. And we're doing our background in pan pastels. Mine came from a set. I think you can buy some colors individually on Amazon. I'll try to link both in the Patreon comments of this video. Otherwise, you can use something similar, and we'll talk more about that when we get to that point. Okay, I also have a Holbein blending solution, which I haven't decided if I want to use on here or not. Whites and metallics don't tend to blend. This only works for Holbeins, so I'm not sure. We're going to try to not use it because not a lot of people might have that. But anyway, we're going to start with a little alien. I'll have everything on my swatch here for you here. There'll be a PDF or a JPEG copy of this at the bottom of the video. You can save to your phone or computer so you can pull all your colors, get all your colors, put in a little basket, ready to go. Let's get started. Here's the cute little guy we're going to do. And this is one of those 2-page spreads, so we'll be doing them differently, maybe each side or not at the same time, but let me straighten this up a little. When we get to these backgrounds where we have all these little things, I don't tend to do every little leaf. If that was the case, I would leave the background white and do every little leaf or rock or whatever it is. In this case, we're just going to do the whole background a tinted color, and you'll see the outline of them through it. So for our cute little alien guy, we're using some shades of green. I have ice green, jade green, cobalt green, and Viridian. And I used my Doll 133 is the best sharpener for these or any good artist pencils, and they get a nice sharp point. They don't break. It works really, really quite well. So this one needs a little more. I used it. It's an actual crank sharpener. Okay, so we're going to start with the, oh, sorry about that. Bumped my table. The darkest color, which is the Viridian. And so we can do a bit of an outline. I did actually want to do some blush color on him, and I realized I didn't put that in. I was thinking of like a purpley color, maybe a darker pink color. Let's hold off on the face and start on the body for now. I need to pull my colors and update this palette. So by the time you get your PDF copy, this might look different. Sometimes I adjust as the video goes along. But we are going to start with this Viridian color. And it's 247. And this is going to be the darkest area that's going to go in like the shadows. So if we're doing it around his leg, I'm just going to smooth and steady, kind of color around where these shadows are. And underneath his little arm here, itch on my back. So, and I'm gonna kind of outline his leg with it. We're gonna trace along the black line. Yeah, these are definitely like a harder pencil compared to like a Prismacolor or Sucolor or Castle Arts Gold, but like they feel harder, but they're also buttery. It's really hard to explain. They're very different than Polychromos, but still definitely more oil-based than wax-based. And we're gonna outline his little leg here, his little foot, bottom of his foot, because we're gonna kind of box into the lightest color to the center. Let's do this outer leg as well, right here. Outline his little foot. And right where you get to the point where you're gonna stop shading at the edge, you want to lighten up your pressure a little bit. So it's a little softer and kind of fades out a little, if that makes sense. Do a little more over here. Do a little bit darker right here. Maybe a little darker right here. All right, a little darker in this corner where this little shadow is. This is our first round, so to speak. Let's go up and do the body as well. So I'm going to do the neck here on the left. I'm going to follow his arm down, kind of run the line next to it like an inside outline. His hand here, I'm going to darken it a little bit at his fingertip. I'm going to do some here at the fold of his arm. Okay. Now I'm going to get his neck like this. We're going to go this angle, the same angle of the shading. So this is kind of like a darker shadow. So we want to go like this, like feathers. All right, then let's follow this area here, right there. Just a little more darker at the top. Little bit outline here and here. Okay, then let's go up and down, basically vertically from the bottom and follow this little pencil sketch. Okay, I'm going to darken it a lot more right here where that shadow is. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do a little more on the inside of his arm right here too. All right, so that's our starter color. Now let's go into the Jade green. The Jade. That's the next darkest color. We're going from darkest to lightest. And we're going to kind of just blend into the other color, just overlapping a little bit, and then bring it a little bit into its own white space. Just a little, because we're making room for all the colors, right? So I'm going to blend over, but inward a little, just a little, and follow the line of the other color. There, I'm going to do it kind of light. Same thing here. I'm going to follow this in. A little bit here on his foot. Okay, a little bit more in. Let's do this one. A little bit over the knee and then down. let's go over here to his neck, and I'm going to kind of go next to it. I'm going to overlap a little, and then I'm going to bring it down a little this way. Bringing it down at an angle. See that? And I'm going to go upward a little bit more from here because we're going to kind of close this in. I'm going to go upward. Go up along the right side of his body. Kind of close that right there. Then let's go upward here and close off the whole rest of that arm right there. All right, and let's go over here. We're going to get it overlap at the top. And then do some down here. Just a little. And actually I want to go in just a little bit more right there. And I'm going to lighten my pressure. All right. Let's go now to the cobalt green. Cobalt green. And I'm going to work on the leg. Again, I'm going to overlap a little because I want to kind of blend those colors. Then I'm going to overlap a little, then move to the center. Bring some of that white toward the center. The green toward the center by overlapping the white I meant. Okay. Let's get over here. We're going to blend over, down, over. Let's go here. Gonna overlap everything. We're overlapping these colors a little. Overlapping this so you can kind of see that tint of the green over the aqua. I like to think of him as like a little water alien almost. Sitting in his little swamp tree. Getting away from the water. All right, let's go to the bottom. I'm gonna go upward and over the other colors. Just kind of smooth and steady straight across. And then I'm gonna go up, and then I'm gonna follow up to the top. I'm gonna further bring this down a little bit, not all the way. There we go. Still closing it in. All right. All right. And then over here, we'll get a little bit on his lower arm and his hand. Okay, now let's move to the next color. The next color is ice green. Ice green, which I didn't apparently grab. There's ice green. So we're gonna fill in most of this, leave a little bit of room for a little bit of white. We're gonna overlap lightly, close in the arm, leave almost like a white strip down the middle. As you kind of box in the color. What is this right there? Got something on mine. A little bit of white strip right in the middle. I can put that white right down the center. I'm just gonna kind of use this to go over everything again. Let's go down to this leg. Gonna go over everything. box this in until you get a very thin white strip in the middle. That's just for his little highlights. I'm gonna overlap here on the bottom, put this color in all over. Overlapping. Leave that little white strip again. Let's do this leg over. I'm going to go down color in most of this box. I'm going to overlap this color here. I'm going to go up. We're going to leave a little white spot on his belly. It'll be light though. I have to answer. All right, I had to stop for a day. Had appointments and things, but we are back to it. It's the benefit of starting and stopping, I guess, is I can merge my videos together. I did add 2 colors for his cute little blush tint, which is magenta and azalea. That would be these 2 here. So I do want to first put a little of the dark green around the cheek. I'm gonna have a little process. Let's start with that Viridian. There you are. The Viridian was the darker color. So I'm gonna outline on the inside a little here before we start the pink, because it's still the color of his skin, even though he has blush. A little bit darker over that shading. Okay. And while we're at it, let's just do the whole face. I'm going to shade, outline the whole inside of his face. I'm just going to bring it down a little because the big surface area. So I'm softly just going around now, extending it outward, the color, lightening my pressure a little more now. I'm getting to this end part here. Just gonna bring it, I'm gonna bring it outward a little more, but really light, so that we can blend that next color into it. All right, a little more up here around the eye and down. Okay, it's a little scratchy, but we're gonna go over it. So, though, let's put in our blush color next. So between the two, it's kind of a toss-up, which is darker. They're similar. One has more pink, one has more red. I really think that the azalea, so it's really tough though. Yeah, I think the azalea, I need to sharpen one. think we're going to start with the azalea. Well, gosh, I'm so torn. Yeah, no, magenta. I decided on the magenta. I'm torn. Nope, azalea. We're starting with azalea. We're doing it. I'm torn. All right, let's start with the azalea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly not go all the way to the black line, but lightly kind of shade over that pink. I'm sorry, the green. I'm going to kind of go down a little. I'm going to start going over this. I'm going to go, though, more along the side. This first part of the cheek, maybe. We're going to be using two colors here. To the eye. Okay. A little bit here on the bottom. Okay, let's go into this magenta now. I want to blend into this in a soft, kind of soft manner here. I'm just kind of swirling it. There we go. Trying to get more in that darker area right in the middle right there. Okay, now let's go back around it with that azalea. I'm going to use a harder pressure now. I'm going to blend around in. I'm going to overlap that green just a little. All right, I think we're going to stop for now. We can touch more up later because we have to kind of get that green in around it. So we're going to do the same thing on this other side. And I wanted it to be like a bold, because we don't want it to look like a human. I want it to have bold, kind of vibrant, quirky little alien colors. This one's a little trickier because his face shape is different. So I'm going to blend a little bit under the eye here. This is the azalea. Into that green. Come down a little. Maybe go up next to this eye a little higher right there. I think I'm pretty light. Okay. I think we can't quite just, we don't see as much of his face here. That's the issue. It's not going to be really even. All right, let's do the magenta. Going to color in. I'm going to just doing big kind of swirls in the center, medium pressure at first till I just start kind of layering that color around the eye. Okay, I'm just going to circling. I'm going to circle now in the center more. Get a little darker near that green, up to the edge. You can really push hard and get some good pressure and color in there. Okay, now let's go. It's going to turn a little blue when you're mixing the two colors, but that's okay. Let's go to the azalea again. I'm going to do okay. Let's just kind of see how and where our alien skin colors go before we see if we need to touch that up. So after the Viridian, we're going to want to go to the Jade green. Jade green. Okay, now I'm going to start blending in, overlapping, layering, overlapping half of the first color, the Viridian. Just kind of do it nice and soft in these long kind of swirls. And I'm also going to slowly bring it into its own white space as I'm doing that. So I'm just kind of bringing it down as I'm doing it. It's a little odd at this angle. I'm going to go down here. Right-handed, it's kind of odd. I have to turn the book. Overlapping, bringing it upward. All right, we're not quite into that very light area enough yet to put any there. I want to put this around his eyes, just about 1/8 of an inch around, and then lighten it up as you get more away from the eye. Still have to do that other side, but let's go around his eye. This gives it a little more definition, not to have the lightest colors right around the eyes. Okay, gonna blend in some more here and bring it down. Smells good. I'm making homemade bread, honey mustard bread in my bread machine. Hadn't used it in a while, and so a giant thing of honey from Costco. Wanted to make that. It smells delicious. Oh, I used all my bread flour. Alexa, add bread flour to Natural Grocers. I need to get more bread flour.
Added to Natural Grocers.
Better do that now while I'm thinking of it. I'll forget when I go shopping tomorrow. I'm going to go around his nose. All right, bringing it up a little more, but really light. Overlapping it. So we use the blender. It helps with our effects a little bit. Okay, so let's go to the next color, which is the Cobalt green. I'm going to go around his, well, first let's go up here. I want to overlap the other color and bring this down a little. We're just slowly closing in his face, right, toward the middle more. So I'm just kind of following this arch right here. Now I'm going to kind of go around the eye there as well. All right. here. Now we're blending next to the pink, where the pink stops. And I'm going to go left to right. And then I'm going to tie into this color here, moving across his face. I'm going to blend again next to the pink, not over, but next to, and bring it outward. I'm lightening my pressure here, really light. I'm going to bring this a little bit out around the eye instead of going in a, I'm going to start going outward instead of like the way I was doing it. Outward, so it all kind of ties together the direction it's going here. Here. Okay, and very light right here. All right, let's move into the ice green. I just want to make sure where I ended this color that it's really light and that all the strokes are softened out a little. Okay. All right. We're working it. Let's do the ice green. Now you can guess it. We're going to leave a little white kind of down his center. So we're going to blend over that cobalt and the other colors will overlap. Keep going that same direction, trying to close things in here. Overlapping, kind of using this to blend some of the colors together. Okay. Just overlapping everything. I've got that white in the center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to very gently bring this color into the white at the edge of, just kind of soften the edges a little of where the this ice blue is leaving off. I'm just a little bit going to tap this into the white, just a little. Just bring it into the white a little, really faint so you don't, barely can see it, but it's there. It helps soften the edge of those colors where they end before you start your white. It almost makes like a halo in this light blue. Okay. Good. Now let's go to the white, soft white, which is the 501. And I'm going to add this into the middle, and it is definitely soft. You can feel how soft it is. It's almost kind of waxy. Right into the middle there. I'm going to overlap all that blue a little bit so it creates a glow and kind of blends into that blue. There we go. Overlapping a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch into the greens all around the area. I like how that ends up looking. Don't worry if your white area isn't exactly the same as mine or in the exact same spot. It's just the overall technique and concept is what you're going for. All right. So I'm going to take my dark Viridian again, just to darken up the outline. Up here, it's our final coat. We're going to darken things before we blend, just to create a little more shadow. gonna go around his mouth. Just make a little shadow around it with this darker green right here, like that. See, it kind of gives it a little more realism there. Okay, then one more time, I want to take the Jade and same thing, blend into it a little, add a little more color, and then it kind of re-overlaps, you know, those other two blues that we lapped over it. Bring it down a little. This is going to give it a little more rich color when we blend. I'm actually going to go around his eye with this. Okay, just close to the eye. And let's overlap down here. Just realized I'm not sure that I added more down here. I should have re-added the Viridian down here. Okay, so then I'm blending in that Jade to it a little and around that cheek blush. Okay. Next is the Cobalt and final touch or two of that. We can come lower with the Cobalt and more around. And this is where we started coming out from the cheek a little more, and then around the eye. This will make the cheek look a little more greenish tint. Just adding here and there, and then finally that iced green again. Just kind of go around the white, overlap where you actually put on some of the white over the previous application of this color. It's just gonna kind of bring it all together. Deepen up these colors here. Okay, and white. One last time. Going over everything. Alright, so now we can take our Prismacolor blender and go to town. Gonna give it a quick sharpen. You don't want it really sharp, you want it flat. But I want to pick off any color here with my nail from the earlier blend, any green, so it looks just this kind of chalky color. So I want to start in the white area. I don't want to streak green across it. I'm going to go left to right. It feels really slippery. That white is a little more waxy for some reason, or oily. Okay, and then I'm going to go, it's definitely drier in the green. So when we hit the green, I'm going to use some pressure, little circles. Try not to catch any of the pink in your blend so you don't bring it too far in to the green. I'm just ignoring that pink, going around it. It's definitely drier, easier to blend away from the white. I'm going to go under the mouth, around the mouth. Around this cheek. I'm trying to go left to right, or vertical, or horizontal, I mean. I'll get back to that center, but first I want to pick off some of that white wax off and go up here. So let's start in this darker area. Okay, I'm using a lot of hard pressure to where the table's shaking, which you really need to do to get that heat and friction of the material that's in the blender onto the paper. It kind of starts melting and mixing things. I'm afraid to use your muscle. If it starts gunking up, pick it off. So you can get to a fresh spot on the blender. There we go. Takes a little more work than it does when you use the waxy pencils because it is different. Right. So now I'm going to kind of go straight across. I'm doing the light green into the white. The edges of that light green and ice color. I'm going to go straight across. Really hard. And your hand's going to cramp. And you're going to complain. Ugh. Woo. Yeah, because as soon as your pencil hits that white area, it feels slippery. That white is meant to kind of be, it has something different in its chemical makeup that makes it almost slippery compared to the regular colors. I'm blending right at the line of where the ice ended and the white began. Tying them all together, up and down, squiggle, 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 squiggle. Woo! That softens like all those kind of lines where the color ended right down here. See, anywhere you still see like some pencil lines or streaks. Blend. Looks good. We're getting there. Almost done. The whole table is shaking. You can use your little brush to keep everything off. I'm going to get up here again. There's still some. Every now and again, pick off your color so you got a fresh spot on your blender stick. Just want to smooth it up here a little more and across the forehead. There we go. Do feel like I seem to have caught a little bit of pink on my blender because I just dragged a little bit of pink across, as you can see right there. Whew. Okay. All right. Da-da. Looking good. I'm looking around to see, do I see any like pencil streaks? Right here I see a little bit of that ice blue through the lines of it. Where it went into the white, it doesn't look like a totally smooth transition. So I'm really squiggling at the intersection of where that blue ended and that white started to soften it like it's a natural ongoing glow. Yeah, that really works. Okay. One last time. One last smoothing blend. I'm going to go around the mouth and blend all the way. Ooh. Okay, we're done. I'm going to get right down here. If you see the line that looks too thick, soften it up. Looks good. He looked like a glowing alien. That's what I was looking for. We can touch up on that cheek. Take that magenta. I'm going to darken back all the way up to where his face ends. Darker, like to the center. And I'll do the lighter color coming inward. Give it more of a purpley magenta look. All right. Doing the background will be way easier than this, so don't worry. We just have to do those leaves in this tree, which looks like it's not that much, but it takes longer than you would think. We're doing the azalea now, just because we want these things to be blended well and nice. Going over, I'm overlapping the azalea, bringing that color everywhere. There we go. I think it looks good. I love it. Love, love, love. So we'll get back to the eyes later. I want to move on to the tree trunk and branches, and I'm going to get back to the eyes when I see how everything looks, so I can kind of decide what I want to do with the eyes. Obviously, we have to put in some black over there and whatnot because it's shaded, but we're done with these original colors now. So now we can move on to the tree trunk, which is, or tree root, I guess, which is Sepia, Warm Gray 6, Warm Gray 5, which is right here because I messed up, that's white out, and Warm Gray 3. So Warm Gray 3, 5, and 6, and Sepia. I do have some black lamp black for his eyes, but I might want to add a tint of color, so I haven't decided. And then the leaves, so we'll do that tree trunk. I'm going to go pull those colors, and let's get started. Okay, so I got our stuff together. So I pulled the two colors. The colors are burnt sienna and red iron oxide, which is the darker one. So I have like the 3 different pan pastel full sets. There's like an earth tone set, a primary set, and a pastel set. And then I take them out. They come in like a box with all the little, they do not come in this. They come in a box with these little things with these plastic lids, and then they stack them. So you have to unscrew each one. It's a hassle, but you can buy these individual lay flat plastic cover things that you can lay them all in and see your colors. So you might be able to buy these individually. I will link them with all the products I'm using in this video. If you can't get these or don't have them or have different colors or don't want to get them, use whatever colors you want to use. The trick would be 2 colors in the same color family, like 2 reds, 2 purples, 2 greens, 2 blues, one a little darker and one a little lighter. Maybe like, this would almost be like a dark and a light tone. Imagine there would be a middle tone here, like a medium brown. So I'd use a darker tone and a lighter tone to do the technique or what I'm going to do here to replicate, and then just use whatever colors you have. If you don't have any pan pastels, you can use gelatos with a soft brush. You know, I can't demonstrate how to do any of that because that's not what's going on in this video. You could just leave it white and do the little leaves. I highly recommend you try pan pastels because they make for really quick, easy backgrounds. So you also want to buy a set of these, although I think you get the little sponge thingies when you buy a thing of the pan pastels, which are these like little sleeves, but you can buy a set of pan pastel brushes or sticks, which are these, and you can buy a ton of these extra little cover thingies here that you can, where's my tray? You can slip on and off. So I have all of mine in here. All these different sizes and things you can use with your pan pastels. I'll link my favorite set below. So all you really do, you're going to use the flat part of the brush down to be going over your paper. So you just slip it on like a little sleeve. If you already have something on one side like I do here, but not on the other, you want it to be a fresh side. So you slip it on. You wash these. When I go to wash them, I just put them all in a big, like an old coffee cup with really hot water and some Dawn soap, and I shake and shake till the water turns really dark, drain it, fill it again, and then I just kind of squeeze them with my hand and get all the color out like a sponge. This has a little yellow tint, but that's fine because we're doing the darker color. And then this one, I'm going to get ready to do, this side hasn't been used. Okay, I'll show you what we're going to do. There's so many ways you can do this. I'll tell you a few of my different ones. One thing you'll want is a few pages of cardstock. This is my Nina paper I do my Etsy printables on. And that is because it's easy to get stuff all on your work surface. So I like to tuck a piece because we're going to do the corners here and here. And it's kind of chalky, like a chalk. And one here. Just kind of right like that. And then I'll put a little one coming out. So I'm getting on the paper underneath. Or do I want to go this? No, I go that way and push that over because I don't have any over there. Okay. So then we're going to start with the dark color. And the concept here with your darker color is we're going to do quadrants, right? So if you look at all four corners, it's a square page. We're going to do, like if you were to, let me see, let's say you were to draw a line, corner, corner, like triangles, corner, corner, maybe a little in further. That's kind of what we're going to do. And then put in a little on the sides. And then we're going to put the lighter color around him like a halo. So you'll see what I mean there. It's a lot easier and safer to do the darker colors toward the sides or the exterior of the page, so you don't accidentally touch it to anything you still want to color, or so your center point focal object on the page is, if it has something lighter around it, it's going to show more. Your eye's going to go more to it than if it's dark and lighter on the outside. So you just take this and rub it in. It's almost like eyeshadow. It's going to turn real dark. This is like a, this looks like the Garden of the Gods in Colorado, like the iron red, which is why they call it iron red, I guess. Or up on Kauai, up on the Waimea Canyon, really red earth and dirt up there. Okay, so I'm just going to start. Now I'm going to be very mindful to not get anything on my little guy, because we're not going that close. So I'm going to start here and just kind of do that angle. And you're just going to kind of brush it across like this. It's really smooth. It's nice and smooth. I'm going to go down. It's going to lighten up the more that comes off your brush. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do this. You can swirl them, 2 colors. You need to get more. But this is just a kind of a basic framing technique. Really hard to get into that little crack there, but okay. Almost doing like a picture frame around him. I'm going to kind of just go across. Let's get some more. We're going to go this way. I need to turn my book a little. It's so smooth and silky. It's dry, but it's a real smooth feeling. I really enjoy doing this. It's kind of fun. It will get all over your fingers, so careful in that. I'm going to go down. But see how easy you can do your background. It's like 2 seconds. It's so fast. All right. Now see, I'm already getting some on that page down here. That's why I have that divider paper. We're going to go across the bottom. And more at an angle right here. There we go. So it almost looks like a quadrant we did. And it doesn't have to be with your edges that straight. That's just how it kind of turns out in this case. You can do a touch up here, straight across. Basic concept. Just try getting what areas you missed. You can lighten it up by going over it a few more times. Hold this down in the middle with the dry finger that doesn't have stuff on it. And when you run over this, like with your white, you could go over this and lighten the whole color if you didn't like it. The white is absolutely essential. Okay. Let's go to the other color. This is the burnt sienna. Get some on here. So this is a little trickier because we're getting closer to our centerpiece. So we haven't done the leaves yet, right? So I'm going to do the halo around just to the edge of these leaves, and I'm going to fill in the little areas around them with something smaller. So I'm just going to be mindful. Like down here, you can almost go up to the bottom of the tree and control your brush just fine. See that? And you can blend them together. Okay, trying to blend them all the way together until you get your base color down. All right, here we go. Let's start getting into this white area here. Closer you get, the slower you go, because one little slip of the hand and you've just gone right over your objects. Real careful. I'm going to blend these two together later, but I don't want to pull that dark color in yet, so we're not doing that yet. Doing this. This is a little easier. I'm going like this very carefully. And you could theoretically come in with another color right here, like a glowing yellow or something else. We're just trying to keep this real simple. Let's go to this side. Okay, we're getting there. Another color that would look good would be like, I have to think. Our leaves are going to be in some orange, bright orange and yellow palettes. But I don't want to have anyone buy a third color. I wouldn't normally use a third color. I'm going to use this and very carefully get in here without, I'm going to turn it, make it more like a pen now. Without getting anything on my leaves. Very carefully. And keep dabbing it back into the color. This is where I need to move into a smaller brush. See, I just went over just a little on one. I end up turning it like this and I dab the point in it. So you just get the color on the point to get into some tighter areas. I'm going to use the same brush, that is. Going around the leaves. I'm not sure if I have a smaller one that's not dirty. Let's go like this. We're going to get this color all the way up here. Alright, I'm going to go back around the face. Close as we can without touching him. Slow and steady wins the race. Go around this leaf. Might have to get a Q-tip or something smaller for the little areas. I can get around this tree. Okay. I'm gonna work on this side. I'm waiting to blend everything together until I'm done with these lighter areas, because I don't want to go over the dark, blend it all, and then bring that dark right into it. Or too much into it, at least. A little bit's okay. Let's get around his head here. Just tapping on the ends. Right. And get up here around his. I want it to look more like a dirt kind of color, like he's crawled out of the water. Now he's in earth, like in the garden, or just kind of like a popping but natural kind of a environment. Otherwise, I would have normally chosen like a fuchsia that matched his cheeks or something that would complement it nicely, but I was looking for a particular look here. Okay, let's get right in here. Tricky. Now you can see obviously there's some spots in here. We're gonna need to touch this up with something smaller, which I will come back to. I'm just putting a little color in there to remind me of where the leaves start and the background is. Okay, can get some in there carefully. Right. So I'm gonna now dab it in light, and I'm gonna blend kind of together. I'm gonna pull my fingers down on it here. I'm just gonna use a harder pressure with my finger on the back. I'm pushing down here. I'm gonna try to blend, kind of bring them together. See how that goes? Softens everything up. You do need to put a fixative on this, because otherwise when you close the book, it'll get all on the page on the other side. I'll show you what I use. You do want to spray it outdoors, where you don't have to breathe it and leave it out there for a couple hours to dry. Front porch, back porch, whatever. Garage, except that's not really insulated. I would do it in open air. So wherever you see like that darker kind of line, it's kind of where I would do this. I'm pushing down on this to give it a hard pressure, which is helping it to blend, smooth out. Okay. I got some on that leaf, but that's fine. I'll try to get it off. A little harder up here. Blend very well. But the main point is you want to hold the book. It slides around most of the primary areas. Okay. Rub it. Alright, I'm gonna rub over here too. Adding a little more color as needed. And it's also kind of lightening up the other one a little bit. I'm noticing I'm adding a little more of that lighter color too. I don't know why. I think I put up my finger there. It left 2 fingerprints. Look at that. Should be able to. I might have had something on my hand. That is not normal. I might have some oil in my hand or something. I was eating dinner right before this. My bad. Live and learn. Oh, I got some brown here. I'm going to cover this up. Note to self, wash your hands before you touch over the page. Pan pastels. Okay. Put a little more on. I'm going to get right here. I wonder if I can touch a little dark right there. Kind of put a little more dark, maybe. Let's see if that does anything to cover it. Not very much. The table's shaking. Up here. A little more to get around his head. If you see a white area, you want to try to get as close as you can. So a few more areas I might need to blend out would be right here. Add a little more. I just got a little on there. Happens. I just get my little end of my finger wet. It does kind of rub right off. A little bit. Okay, so add a little more on your brush. If you see areas that look too splotchy or too light. Alright, so the fixative I have, I believe, is a workable fixative. I mean, once it's sprayed and dried overnight, theoretically, I think we can go over now the leaves with like a dark purple or a dark color if we wanted, or black or something. And I think, yeah, I think it is. I'm going to double check the one I have if we want to. I think you can go alcohol marker over it and it won't bleed through because it puts a layer on, a protective layer. Do I have anything smaller for like in between the... Yeah, so I do have this. This is an eye makeup applicator for eyeshadow. So you can dip that in and on the point. To get some little areas if you need to, where you can't get in your bigger brush very well. Where you see some white. All right. Cute, cute, cute. Let's see. There's a little bit right in here. Remember what I said, slow and steady wins the race. It's attention to details. Okay. You can buy a pack of these if you don't have like eye makeup of one you can spare that you won't need to use for your eyes. They're like probably a couple bucks, even at the dollar store, I think. But I'll see if I can link something on Amazon for these. Really is good for little small spaces. You can control it better too. All right. A little blotchy in some spots. Any white areas I missed? All right, on this side, I have a little bit over by his head that I really feel like I want to get right up close. Excellent. Gonna do it there, there. So that leaf that I got some on, we'll try to do the darker orange leaf color to cover it up a little. I think you can get a little bit of it off with your finger, but not a lot. All right. I'm not going to do spray fixative until I do the leaves, because it's going to be too hard. You don't want to get it on there before you do the leaves. It'll be harder to do pencil. I think I got every little nook here. Okay. These obviously will have to be washed now. If there's any areas that were too light, just a little bit of this in and brush it on. Make it look a little splotchy is good. It's kind of like a bauble effect. All right. It's unfortunate I had oil stains on my hands. These two things are not normal, so don't look at that. I pushed my two fingers there to hold the paper, and sure enough, my hands had oil on them, or something. Probably the butter residue from corn on the cob I was eating with dinner. All right, so we're done here. These will have to be washed, but not right now. Okay, I'm going to remove these colors. And make sure there's nothing on my hands. In hindsight, I got some on here. I wonder if I can get that off with my eraser. Let's see. I have a little cloth here. I'll probably do that background dark anyway, but yeah. My Derwent eraser. Did pretty well, actually. Surprised. Okay, get this here. So we're gonna move on to the leaves. I'm gonna take this out. Trick is when you're doing leaves, be careful you don't set your wrist over and over on the pan pastel. Make sure you're not doing too much of that. It'll just get on your skin, that's all. So we're gonna go with the burnt sienna autumn leaf, yellow ochre. So we have yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and I have carnelian. I don't know. A carnation. Oh, I have two types of leaves here. Carnation we're gonna need. So carnation and some green ones, malachite green and summer green. Malachite green. And where are you? Summer green. Summer green. Okay. So just get all the pencils out you're going to need now. And we're ready to roll. Just making sure I have my card. I have Yellow ochre. Do I have malachite? Yeah, I do. All right. So for our leaves, so I have 2 sets of leaves rotating, right? So you have burnt sienna, autumn leaf, and yellow ochre, like a blend, and then the 2 greens and a red. And or any combination. I think the darkest color is the malachite green. We should do that one over here that I got some stuff on. So let's do that malachite green first. And I'm going to color as much as I can right over this. It's going to be a darker color. So autumn leaf with a little brown tint. I'm going to leave a white space in the opening. I'm just going to outline each side here. Okay. I'm going to fill that in with the other green. Let's do another one down here. Anywhere, maybe spread them out so the colors are kind of spread out. But anywhere if you got some pan pastel on it, let's do that one. I'm going to go down the side. Lighter down here, and just kind of so we can save room to blend that other green in. Let's do one not next to his body because it's already green. Let's do this one here. The base, and then upward a little. Leave a white area in the middle. Let's do this one here. I'm gonna do one side, go over that pan pastel, and a little bit down this side, mostly leave all this area here open. One more down here. I'm gonna run this straight down on one side because it's kind of pointy. And then just a little shading at the top and bottom on this one, then we'll add in that other color. Over here, I want to do a red and do that red in with it. So let's do this side down here. A little bit at the base. And the side, just a little where that dark spot is right there. Leave more white. Okay, let's go over to the summer green. Like for this one, for example, I'm going to just fill it all the way in the middle. Brighter green you can see. I'm gonna use a whoopsie flowy, a harder pressure. Blend that in. Okay. This one too, let's get all this bright green in, bottom right. You can go in that center vein, overlap everything, use a hard pressure to blend it all together. Nice and creamy. Okay. Let's do this one here, pointing downward, all of this one. Got my hand a little bit on the pan pastel. One thing I'm gonna take out my blender card, put it over the top. I keep putting my hand on it. There, just saying you can say your hand on it like that. One thing I warned you not to do, I just did it myself because it's hard not to do it. Okay, let's take I'm gonna put some red in these and then go back to this color. So take your carnation. I'm gonna do both colors here. I'm gonna add a little bit of that to here, very light, kind of toward the tip, and one kind of area here. Overlap a little if you want that green, but then we'll put the other green in that spot. Same thing over here. Got it in one area, but then we're going to do that spot. And this one, just a little bit here along the side in the middle. Okay, now go back to the summer green. And let's fill in around everything. Kind of around that red spot, over the other green. Blend it in nice and hard. Darn it, I forgot to email my friend back in Japan. Alexa, what time is it in Japan?
In Japan, it's 1:19 p.m.
1 p.m. Oh, okay. I got time before she gets back from work. That has like a light red spot. We'll go back and touch it up. Let's go around here. It's almost bedtime for me. Okay, witchcraft. Leave a little red spot there. And this one we're just kind of going around it. Overlap it a little if you want. Okay, then take that carnation again, darken up that spot a little. Ah! That looks nice. I like that. Okay, now let's do some other colors and see if we need to come back and I need to get one more green up here. Let's do another green, the malachite. I want to get one right up here. So I'm going to get this left side coming down. We'll put in some red. Let's see. I should get one up here. Let's get one up here. I guess we can do one by his body. It's different green. Let's just get a little. Okay, go back to the carnation. I like that tint of red, so we're going to add a little bit of this carnation red right on the right side, maybe a little bit on the left upper side. Over here, we're going to kind of do some on the right side, a little bit on the upper left. And the summer green. Gonna blend everywhere in. All right, and take the carnation, go back over those red spots, make them nice and vibrant, like natural leaves, little alien leaves. Okay. An acrylic paint marker would look good on these. In fact, this red that's in the leaves on these would look good. I'm going to play around and see what I can find for us. Okay. Anyway, I just had that thought. Let's move on to some of these. So let's do the burnt sienna, which is ironic because this was burnt sienna as well. The pan pastel. Very similar. So on those leaves, this is gonna be some of the dark base color. I'm gonna go in at the base here, where that pencil sketch is, and up here I got a little green on there at the top right there. We're going to try to do 3 colors in these. That's really all I need. Let's go over here at the base. There we go. Let's get one up here. More on the upper right tip, upper left tip, the base, a little bit right there, a little bit squiggling a little color. We want them to look kind of natural. Let's do one right here. I'm gonna do one here. One, let's do one up here. Okay, let's go to the autumn leaf. Gonna put in some of this, just blend it kind of randomly, maybe overlap the burnt sienna, leave room for the yellow. So just kind of put it in, maybe blend into the edge of the burnt sienna up here, maybe. Not a particular pattern, you want to be able to weave in that yellow naturally. Just squiggling in a little bit. A little bit in the middle. Let's get a little bit over here. Okay, now let's go to the yellow ochre. I'm gonna fill in everything. And we wanted some of these leaves to blend into the background because it's like he's on another planet. He's taking a little break. It's kind of a chameleon. Some weird, quirky alien plant. I'm using this yellow as like the blender, so I'm going to the white space, but over the other colors. So it brightens it up and brings it all kind of together. You can see those low lights of the other colors underneath it. Like some little shadowings. And you can even take your autumn leaf and put a little bit more in if you want. Okay, let's do this one. This one I'm going to do just on the top and the bottom. I'm going to go in with the autumn leaf and darken that up. So you can see that a little more. It's a little different. And then go back to the autumn leaf. Go over. Let's get, I want to put in a little more autumn leaf, make it a little darker. A little more burnt sienna at the base. Top maybe. And let's get in that yellow ochre. I think I want to do a whole leaf in that carnation color. Oh. Maybe a magenta, the color from his cheek. One of the colors from his cheek. And see that? I just did it. Gotta be careful I don't set that on my alien now, so I'm holding the pencil upward so I don't set my hand down. All right. I want to take the carnation and let's do one whole leaf in this carnation. Maybe this one. Going straight down here, maybe. You could put in a tad bit of that yellow right here just so you have a little two-tone, but not much. Tint of yellow and then go back and put that carnation in. All right, let's put one over here, right here. I think that was supposed to be yellow, but oh well. I want to put in a little bit of the magenta. Let's do some magenta, just a little to tie in the color from his face. I'm going to do this big one here. I'm going to put some in here at the base. And then we'll blend it into the carnation. Okay, take the carnation, blend into that a little. And go back to the magenta. Darken it up with some hard pressure. Then go back to the carnation. Go back to the magenta. Just kind of making a nice gradient here. Nice and vibrant. It's kind of two-tone. I'm trying to make it two-tone. I'm actually going to take that burnt sienna and color right there. It looks like that's the background, but I think the colors are close enough I'll be able to tell. There we go. Okay. I like that. All right, let's do one over here. Do it right here, magenta. Maybe magenta on this top and then the carnation on the bottom of it. Okay. So then, let's take the burnt sienna and the malachite green together. I'm gonna do some mixtures of these two. So let's do burnt sienna mostly on this one, not at the tip, but we'll just do like some areas here. And then take your malachite green and try to blend it into these white spots here. Take the burnt sienna again. I'm actually going to get that summer green, touch that up. You can see you still see that burnt sienna on the inside here. Okay, make our quirky little leaves. Let's do one here, burnt sienna. I'm gonna do the malachite green again. Maybe the yellow. Let's just do a little bit of these middle areas. At the tip. Let's take that yellow. Put a little bit of that in and then go back to the burnt sienna. A little more of the green. Make some kind of southwestern kind of patterns here. Southwestern style. I think we should do, I'm going to do one that's entirely in the malachite green, a solid dark one. Thinking right here. You can see what I'm doing. I'm really just giving it a nice variation and variety and pattern, you know, spacing them out. Let's do this one here that's pointing out because it has some pan pastel on it. There we go. Now let's do one that's all in the carnation. Maybe we'll put in a little yellow. Well, let's do mostly the carnation, I think, on this one. Maybe I'll tint in a little bit of the magenta. The base and the top there. Okay, let's go back. There we go. I just kind of look and see what needs more color, what spot. I feel like I can put a little yellow over here. So then let's do the yellow and the autumn leaf. Gonna put in the autumn leaf here around the side. And then the yellow on the right side. Okay, a little more autumn leaf can go like right there, right there. And I think we can do some more straight carnation around here. Maybe this one has magenta, so I think maybe I think this one down here. I could have pulled more colors to make more leaf blend varieties, but I didn't want to overwhelm you guys. I'm trying to keep this somewhat simple. But as a solid color, when you use hard pressure to blend, you can see how creamy they really are. Polychromos are a lot harder. I like them too. They're just different. And of course, every paper is different for every pencil. I think we can add I think we need a burnt sienna up here. And then maybe add in a little bit of autumn leaf. A little tint of summer green in the lower corner. Then back to the autumn leaf and blend that up. Let's go right there. I'm going to put a little bit of this autumn leaf in the spine, but I don't think much of that's going to show. Let's get the burnt sienna. Oh, I was holding burnt sienna, duh. I'm going to get right here. Going to kind of do like this. Like this. I'm going to add a little bit of spring green. I'm going to add a little bit of carnation. I'm going to add a little bit of everything. Add a little bit of autumn leaf on one leaf. See what happens. And then the yellow. So you can see I'm just taking a random mix of colors and of these blends and kind of putting them where I think things will look good. Okay. I'm gonna take that burnt sienna. There's a little spot right here. You can cover this up. Pencil. Kind of feel like I want to add the one more color, the one that was in his cheeks, the azalea. Let's take the azalea and add a little bit of this in. I'm going to put mine right over here in this big one. But I'm thinking of blending it with the carnation instead of with the magenta like we did on his cheeks. So let's take the carnation. Just gives us a little more variety here. Azalea. Do it a little harder. Okay. Give it a nicer pop of color. Let's get this one right in here. Right. These two little leaves I think are all part of the background. Let me get that side right there. I'm going to do one, I think a yellow one, a little autumn leaf in yellow. This one down here, a little autumn leaf. I'm going to put in a little autumn leaf here, and I'm going to put in some dark green, I think. This one I'm putting in some yellow. Helps disguise the area if you got any pan pastel on it as well. I'm going to put in a little of the malachite green. Go around these spots. Go back to the autumn leaf, add some bigger spots right there. And you probably want to take your sepia color. Let's see, where is that? Which we did in this trunk. And I'm going to get these branches here. I'm going to use a hard pressure to make them nice and dark brown so they pop out like little twiggies. Okay. Alrighty. That's good. Any others? Maybe right there. Looking right there. And you can take your burnt sienna pencil, which is so similar to the background. If you see any areas where you didn't quite catch enough pan pastel, you can kind of touch it up. It's a little streaky, but Just dab it on any white areas you see. Excellent. Okay. Just gonna go around these leaves. Where are the leaves? Yeah, it's actually darker than the. Oh yeah, because there's no burnt sienna right there. So that's darker than I intended. Let me go back over that. I think we're done though. For I have one leaf left actually. Darken this up. Hopefully you won't notice that I went too dark on the pan pastel coverage. Okay. I have one leaf left. I'm going to put a little green in this one. I have this leaf here. I'm going to put in a little green, the malachite, and a little bit of azalea. And the summer green, touch it up. Take the azalea again, if you need to go over that. Go. So I think that's enough for our leaves. Really, this the burnt sienna. These should have been covered up. So I'm going to grab some tools in my color palette for his eyes and show you what we're going to do there. It's going to include some blacks and something else. And then I'm going to get a little white gel pen. I'm going to look at a couple of acrylic pens real quick about these background leaves and talk about that, some possibilities, and then we'll be all done. I'm going to show you how to do the spray fixative. Okay, so I pulled a few things. We're going to finish the eyes, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking for the leaves. You need your regular black, and I pulled two blues. I'll add this to the swatch: Sky Blue 324 and Porcelain Blue 321. So for the black, and this is the regular black, not the soft black, we're going to actually just shade in most of the black part of his eyes. A little bit light when you go down here, this like part where it kind of drifts out or fades out. A little bit lighter here. Okay. Then this side too, a little bit lighter, some of these black sketch areas. I'm actually also going to circle around it, you know, over the black line that kind of circles his eyes. I'm going to go over this. I forgot about not resting my hand on the pan pastel, which I just did. A little bit of that black sketch up here. Mostly we're trying to circle over his eyes. Okay. All right, so then I'm going to take the blue, the darker blue, which is the Sky Blue I'm going to shade in this over this top part up here. It's going to look a little grayish because you're mixing it over that pre-shading and a little bit of that black. And then around this kind of the inside. Just inside the black line we just went over. All the way around, kind of encircle it. All right, let's do this side too. We're just going to kind of do mostly here on the bottom on this one. Okay. Now we're going to get the other blue, the porcelain blue, and I'm going to shade the remaining of the white areas with this. Go around this black part here. Not these two white areas up here. We're going to do Posca pen, leave it white. Okay. There we go. I'm going to take my Prismacolor blender, pick off any black that's on there, or any dark green or whatever. I'm just going to go over this blue just to kind of soften it up a little. My cat is scratching up my couch. Leo, stop. Leo. Ugh. Leo, hey. Stop. It's not a scratching post. All right, good, good, good. That's really all we needed to do. I did want to get a white Posca pen, which is a paint pen, and this is a 3mm. I do use this in most of my videos, so if you don't have one, you'll definitely want to pick one up. And you just need to activate it, and make sure you get out any little clogs. This one might be running out of juice. Only do that over paper, by the way. And then we're going to kind of just go into these, go over the white areas of his little irises there. I'm going to add another one right here. There we go. Add another one if you need to. So there's 3 for each. I'm going to put this inside his little mouth also. Hey, buddy. Okay, and I'm going to put maybe a few little lines on the tree, like whoosh, 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 whoosh. A few little lines just for a little highlight there. Okay, and then I can get around the base right here as well as a little bit of white on his eye and right along the bottom. Perfect. So what I decided I'm going to do, I'm going to photograph this now in case I want to put up this Patreon tutorial just with this background and stop here because not everyone's going to have what I have. And in case this turns out badly, I won't show this part, but this is a kind of a bonus. What I'm going to do with these leaves. I'm going to do this either on speed or off camera, but these are Tule Art acrylic paint pens. You can buy a pack of like 30 greens shades, a pack of like 30 red shades. I pulled one from my red and my greens here, basically these colors in these leaves. And since it's an acrylic paint pen, it should go over the pan pastel fine all over. And it's going to take a while, but that's what I decided to do with the leaves. That not everybody might not have these. You can, if you do alcohol marker, it will bleed through. You can try something like a Tombow Dual brush pen. This is my alcohol marker Tombow, but you can get the brush pen water-based ones. Maybe that'll work. You can do also a artist pen should work. If you have the Pitt pens, which I do use a lot as well. Here's a green one. Let's just try a green one. I'm doing it down this corner. It's a little slippery. on top of that pan pastel, but the darker colors should work. But I'm going to use acrylic pens, and if you can, paint pens, and you can use whatever you want. I will link the ones that I'm using. So I'm actually going to pause and photograph this. So technically ending the tutorial here, but then I'm going to continue recording, and I'll actually I'm going to pause and then do this off camera, and then I'll come back at the end and show you what it looks like in case anyone wants to replicate. It's a little hit and miss, and you can just leave the background just like that. You don't have to cover up those leaves. Also, don't forget, you're going to want to do a spray fixative, and I will come back at the very end and show you that as well. Okay, so I think this is actually, it turned out pretty good. I pulled some more colors. I pulled some like a mint green, a maroon, a wine color, dark green, turquoise green, just kind of all the colors that were in the center, and did all these little leaves. I can see a few little boo-boos here or there, but yeah, it clearly went over nicely over the pan pastels. So any kind of paint pens or acrylic pens would really work well for this. I'll link these ones below, but you can probably use any. I do love these though, because you get so many varieties of colors and they don't tend to clog up. Like I haven't used these in like a year, and they just went right back into being nice and juicy. I didn't have to do anything, so that was like, I was sweating it a little bit. Yeah, it's a good brand, unlike the Poscas that tend to do that. And I think we're done. I do want to recommend the spray fixative, and I'll link that below as well. It's a Krylon. There's a Winsor Newton one and another one, I think it's called Krylon. You take it outdoors, not right by your front door where there's a screen open. Close your front door if you're doing it on your front patio. I put it on an outside chair or on a towel on the cement in your walkway. Hold your breath and psh, like Aquanet hairspray, and then run into the house. Hold your breath, and then go back in about an hour. The smell will dissipate and it'll be dry. After about maybe 2 days, you can bring it back in, lay it flat in your house, but then you don't smell it anymore. It completely dissipates, but don't breathe it in and don't do it indoors. Otherwise, you know, when you close the book, this could get all on this side, and it'll still get on your fingers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this posted on Patreon. Hope you enjoyed it. I will continue to work on pages in this book against our book completion goals, and I'll see you in another tutorial.